If you have a 5.7 HEMI and want to get a Scat Pack, Hellcat, or Trackhawk, guess what? You already own one. Welcome back to another episode of Modstarz. I'm your host, Steve. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And this is episode 3 of the MOPAR Wars. That is me addressing the MOPAR on MOPAR hate that I've seen over the last few years. And it's ridiculous. It is a silly mentality ladder at the top of the ladder that deems if it's not a Hellcat or Trackhawk, people think it's garbage. And at the bottom of the ladder, if it's not at least a HEMI, aka the Pentastar V6, then people think that is garbage. And this couldn't be further from the truth. If you haven't watched episode 1 and 2, I highly recommend you watch those in order. I'll leave the links in the description below as well. Episode 1 is not only how to buy the best SRT Jeep there is to get, but also make up to 700 horsepower on it. And episode 2 is how to make 500 horsepower or more on the Pentastar V6. And thank you all for all the support for this channel, especially for episode 2 of the MOPAR Wars. I know it helped out a lot of people. And I know I struck a nerve in some of the MOPAR bullies. And I also know you didn't watch the videos, so I have nothing to say except for watch the videos. Anything you try to argue, I've already said in the video, so you can't really argue. And let this be another warning, a third warning for all the MOPAR bullies and naysayers out there. Keep doing what you're doing if you want to. Don't start crying more so when people know how to fight back, and they do. In episode 3, the HEMI owners are going to learn. So it doesn't matter if you have a 5.7 in your Jeep, your Ram, Chrysler 300, Charger RT, or Challenger RT, this video is for you. And I'm going to use the pre-Eagle HEMIs to drive this point home, and specifically the Charger RT. So let's get into it. You can get an 03 to 08 Charger RT for less than $8,000 today. And I know a lot of people are concerned with the pre-Eagle heads with the valve drop issue, but let me ask you this. When's the last time you've seen anybody with a C6 Z06 swap the heads off the LS7 for the same valve drop issue? You don't see it. They either know about it ahead of time or they find out the hard way. Either way, the heads of the motor is pulled and they simply fix the problem and start their build based off of that. They build the head, port and polish heads, cam, upgraded valve springs, retainers, all that stuff. You can do the same thing with the pre-Eagle heads, or you can swap over the 6.1 heads, or of course, the Eagle heads. You have options. Either way, heads cam package, 42-pound injectors, full bolt-ons, including upgraded throttle body or throttle body spacer, in addition to the ported intake manifold, headers, exhaust, of course. And for the transmission and drive shaft, we have an aluminum drive shaft, high-stall torque converter, trans-cooler, TCU tune, of course, Diablo Sport tune, white line cradle bushings, I-box springs and shocks, or max speed coils, either 309 LSD or the 390, depending on your setup, a diff brace, and level 2 bolt-on axles ready for 600 horsepower. This approach right here is pretty much a budget Scat Pack killer. It'll make about 450 horsepower to the wheels. Scat Packs don't even do that stock. Even if it doesn't make 450 to the wheels, it's still a lot lighter, and it's still going to be a lot quicker. We eliminated the issues of wheel hop, and it's going to handle a lot better and have traction a lot better. And yeah, it's just a really good budget deal. So another cool thing about the pre-Eagle HEMIs is that they have a 9.6 to 1 compression ratio, which means it really likes boost. So let's talk about the supercharger options. And you have options. If these kits don't include the tune and the fueling upgrades like the injectors and the fuel pump, this is what you're going to need. Diablo Sport tune, 72-pound injectors, and they're ethanol capable, along with the drop-in fuel pumps, which have 2 pumps. And that, again, is capable to run ethanol. Now, as far as supercharger kits go, again, you have options. If you want to have that induction, kind of turbo-like hissing, then you have the option of the Pro Charger or the Vortex supercharger. If you want that Hellcat-esque whine, you have the Ken Bell or the Whipple. And regardless of which route you go, throwing one of these kits on a HEMI, it's about 500 horsepower to the wheels with headers, 515, 530 max, in addition to, the extra, heads cam package and such. Depending on your setup, yeah, you're making close to 600 to the wheels, if not more, on pump gas alone. With ethanol, yeah, you're good. And that's on stock block. And if you don't want to run ethanol, I highly recommend you get a water methanol injection kit, especially to save your block and not have to worry about, any oxidation from the fuel or any other issues that might come about with running ethanol. I have nothing else to say except I know people are going to say, well, it doesn't matter what you do. It's still not going to be as fast as a Scat Pack, or it still won't beat a Hellcat even if you supercharge it. It probably will, and I'll tell you why. These chargers weigh 4,031 pounds. The modern day Scat Pack weighs 4,410. Modern day Hellcat weighs 4,586. This is without a driver. So you say if the driver's 170 pounds at minimum, that's a 4,600 pound car, maybe closer to 4,700. That's almost like a truck. So not only this charger won't even need that much power, the same amount of power. Again, it's already lighter. It's going to be a lot quicker off the line, and it's going to shift a lot quicker too. So you can get a Hellcat or a 392 for a fraction of the cost, and you already own the car. Stay tuned for episode 4 because we're going to talk about the SRT8 Challenger and Charger. Like, subscribe, and share. And if you don't know, now you know, but do what you want to do.